Welcome, everybody. Let's go Niners. My name is Jason Aponte. Week 11, I can't believe it. The season is flying by, and it doesn't matter what your team is doing. You need to cherish every single week because once the offseason comes, you're going to be like, what the hell are we going to be doing on Sunday? So I'm Jason Aponte. That's Lou. That's Weston of the We're Talking Football podcast, and we're here to do more start-sit questions. You guys know the drill. Make sure you put your questions in. Make sure you show your format. Make sure you let us know what your other options are, and we'll try our best. We were just talking about it before we got on. Sorry to everybody that we told about Matt Ryan last week. We apologize. Sorry about that one. That was a miscalculation. Good thing if we would have done this and it would have been Sunday and this same matchup would have happened with the Patriots and Falcons, I would have told you to run as far as you can away from Matt Ryan. And then look what happened on Thursday. So I guess you live and you learn. But we did get a lot of other things right. You know, we had someone in here asking about CeeDee Lamb. How did you feel about playing that guy? Like, I mean, that he's fine. And if you have a question, if the question is CeeDee Lamb or somebody else, the answer is CeeDee Lamb. With Amari Cooper out, we should go through the inactives because there's a large amount of inactives and a large amount of fantasy relevant players. But before we do all that, fellas, how are you doing? I'll start with you, Lou. What's up, man?
Yo, man, what's going on? I thought we got outside of that Matt Ryan fiasco. I thought every other advice we gave was perfect.
Right. I think so too. So my bad. For everybody else that's in here, just make sure you shoot a like onto this so we can get this going up and everything. My bad, Lou. Keep going, man.
No. Listen, I think it was really adult-like for you for apologizing for the Matt Ryan. You hear people like Matthew Berry or what have you that give out this fancy advice, and when they give out poor advice, they just fade in the back of the bushes like that Homer Simpson gif. So good for you for stepping up and owning to your mistake, bro.
Damn right. But I'm also going to take my victory laps. Weston, what's up?
Yeah. Pat yourself on the back.
Yeah, there's a few victory laps from last week. You know, Kittle over Pitts, which was something that we toiled with. The CeeDee Lamb. I said Antonio Gibson in a couple spots, and he had himself a big game and got off the schneid. I just almost didn't let myself back here this week after that Matt Ryan. I was in a turtle shell for a couple of days after that. But hey, we live, we learn. Another week. I'm excited. Let's roll.
And we got one thing right about that. It was a Dan Quinn revenge game. Man, my goodness.
God almighty, was it ever.
Exactly.
All right, cool. We got some questions already rolling in. Bay Area Baller, what's up, Eric? 2 quarterback league. Tyler Huntley in for Lamar Jackson. And before we do that, let me get to the inactive. So active today, James Robinson. Miles Sanders is back. Taysom Hill is back. I don't know what that means. Inactive, Lamar Jackson, Allen Robinson, Jared Goff, Elijah Mitchell, Curtis Samuel, Alan Lazard, Donovan Peoples-Jones, and Kenneth Gainwell. So there's a lot of fantasy-relevant players, including Allen Robinson. But we'll start with this one. Tyler Huntley, who will be starting for the Baltimore Ravens, or Trevor Siemian, who will be starting for the New Orleans Saints.
Mind if I just go ahead and jump in on that one?
Go for it, Weston.
I'm just feeling like this one has to be Siemian. I just feel like how many reps is Huntley really getting throughout the season? I know he's got nothing to lose. Go out there, wing it. But to me, this is a coin toss. But if I'm making an educated guess on this, I'm going to say Trevor Siemian, just with a little bit more experience in the offense. Taysom Hill a little banged up, right? So he's probably going to get more reps and more repetition. So I'm just going Siemian on this one.
Lou?
Listen, I hate to be the bearer of bad news. I don't think any Huntley or Siemian is going to ball out. You love Huntley for his ability to, get those rushing yards and what have you. But I'm agreeing with Weston here for the mere fact that the Eagles' secondary has been porous. Like I said that last week. I'm riding that train again. So I would think Siemian would be a safer bet because of the ability to get like maybe 225 yards and 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Huntley, you don't really know where you're going to get. You're banking on those rushing yards. So if they're not there, you're kind of in trouble.
Yeah, I'm going to go Siemian too with Alvin Kamara out in this game. He's also out. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is active today, so that's kind of going to throw a wrench into Darrell Williams owners. But I would say before we get into all that, Darrell Williams is still a start. I'm not going to be rolling Clyde Edwards-Helaire out there. This is your last week to play Darrell Williams. I think he's earned too much and he's played too well. But in this one, I'm going to go Simeon as well. I just trust the better offense. I don't know what I'm getting from Huntley. And if Simeon could find the end zone 1 or 2 times, then you're pretty good. Honestly, if you're playing both of these guys, you're playing them as just floor plays. There's no boom on either of these guys' side unless something crazy happens. So let's move on. Interrupts as pick 1, Ayuk, Higgins, Tony, or Christian Kirk. This is interesting. Kadarius Toney's back. They obviously like to get him the ball. Christian Kirk and A.J. Green are the only game in town. Now, remember, Colt McCoy is starting. Brandon Ayuk is playing Jacksonville. And T. Higgins is playing Las Vegas. Yep. Yes, Las Vegas. Yep. So I'll start with this one. I'm going T. Higgins. There's no way that you can go away from him right now. He's still the target leader. He's up there with him and Chase. So they love Higgins. I'm going to go Higgins here.
Yeah, me too. I just, when I look at those 4 names, I'm looking at who's consistently close to 10 to 15 points a week. And for me, it's T. Higgins. It's just like when Jamar Chase is a focal point, it opens up the offense for him. You don't know if Tony's going to last the whole game. I'm looking at Kirk from a quarterback scenario. And Jason, you and I all know all too well the ups and downs that is the Brandon Ayuk train this year.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for peer pressure, so I'm going to say Higgins too. But if I had to rank them, though, it would be Higgins and then Tony, because that Tampa defense, especially that pass defense, has not been the same as it was last year. You figure a lot with Tony, a lot of perhaps garbage points, from him. Christian Kirk, he's boomer bust, and that's with Kyler Murray under center. So, Kyler Murray is not playing, so you have to realize his Colt McCoy doesn't throw the ball down the field. He doesn't push it down the field, and Brandon Ayuk. You got to worry about that game flow, them being able to run all over on the Jags. So, yes, it's Higgins and then followed by Tony for me.
All right, good call. Patrick, family, Ayuk or Kadarius Toney? I think that Lou kind of just mentioned it. I would go Kadarius Toney here. They just have creative ways of getting him the ball. He's healthy. He's off of the bye week as well, too. And, that Tampa secondary is right for the picking at times.
Yeah, I think Lou just said it all, and we're probably all in agreement. If we were ranking the previous question, Tony probably would have been number 2 on all 3 of our lists. So to me, this is Kadarius Toney.
Okay.
Yeah.
Long Island girl, pick 3. Debo, you're starting. No questions asked. Debo, you're starting. He's going for 1K today. Right after the first quarter, you should have it. DK, Chris Godwin, or Adam Thielen. Man. I think I'm going Debo at least in there. Godwin's going to be in there as well, too, with Antonio Brown not playing as well. Now that really comes down to Metcalf and Thielen for me. I have a hard time benching DK no matter what's been going on over there. I have to think that Russell Wilson's going to play a little bit better. So if these are your options and you can't start all 4, then Debo, Metcalf, and Godwin. Goodness gracious.
Yeah, these are problems I want to have. So Long Island girl, shout out to you on your receiver options. But I am identical to Jason here. I'm Debo, Godwin definite, and I just think another week back with Russell, they try to get this thing back on track, and I think DK has a big game today.
Okay. All right, I'm going to throw you for a loop. I'm going to say Debo. I'm going to say Metcalf. I'm going to say Thielen. I feel like I just feel like the Packers, I know they've been good on defense, but the injuries are starting to mount on that defensive side of the ball. So I feel like this could be an opportunity for him to kind of go off.
Okay. Daniel, hey, thanks for last week when you answered my question that helped me win. Hey, there you go. See, that's it. That's what we're talking about. I honestly care more about the advice that we give than my own teams because I sit there and I fret and I worry about it. So that makes me feel good. Question, start 1 PPR. I'm assuming that's Keenan Allen, Michael Gallup, or Pittman. If it's Keenan Allen, then it's no question asked you start Keenan Allen. I know that it's Pittsburgh, but no Joe Hayden. That defense isn't exactly what it used to be. And you watched 2 weeks ago, Justin Fields and that Bears offense kind of carved them up. No TJ Watt also. So, if it's Keenan Allen, then, Gallup is a close second, though, because no Amari Cooper. I really like Michael Gallup, and if you have him, you kind of got to force him into your lineup somewhere. But I'm going Keenan Allen here.
Yeah, for everything you just said, Jason, I do think Gallup has some sex appeal with Amari Cooper out. I think the Buffalo Indy game, you're going to see a lot of run first from Indy, so Pittman's probably going to be a secondary thought. And I'm stealing your line from last week. You danced with the girl you brought, right? And that's Keenan Allen, right? You wasted or not, you spent a lot of capital on that individual, probably our first or second round pick this year. You got to ride it till you die. It's Keenan Allen all day, number 13.
Yeah, you already said it, Jason. That Steelers defense is banged up. No Watt, no Hayden, no Fitzpatrick. I don't believe either. Minkah Fitzpatrick, I think he's out too. So, yeah, I think they're going to have a lot of time to throw against the Steelers defense.
Yep. All right across the board. Here we go. Agnew or Ayuk. I mean, it depends on your format, but we were literally just talking about this. I like Jamal Agnew this week, and just the way that they get him the ball in different ways. I mean, I just don't think that the 49ers are going to have to throw a ton in this game. And if they do, then it'll be to Debo and Kittle. And we know that Brandon Ayuk is the complementary piece. So I'm going to go with Ayuk. I'm Agnew. He kind of gives you a safer floor, if that makes any sense, for a guy that a lot of people are picking up on the waiver wire. He just kind of flew under the radar for a little bit.
Yeah, I picked up Agnew a few weeks ago, and this is the week that I finally had the courage to put him into my own lineup. So I'm trying to back up my statement here and give you a little confidence that I, too, am rolling with this individual. I think it's a combination of things. I think it's a higher floor and even a higher ceiling as well, right? Like, he's this guy, think about a former kick returner, punt returner, special teams ace. Like, if he's in open space, he's got every opportunity to hit a home run for you, 60, 70, 80-yard touchdown, which can be done against this 49ers defense. I've seen it happen too much. So to me, this is Jamal Agnew.
Yeah, no, I agree. That was one of my conundrums right now. We're talking about Agnew before. Just worried about the game flow. How many opportunities will he really get in this Jaguars offense with the Niners just keep on running the ball down their throat and what have you? So I think you got to temper your expectations, but I would pick Agnew over Ayuk.
And Agnew feels like the guy that they want Laviska to be. And I love Laviska coming out because they just use him in different ways and they get him the ball, but he's a little bit more explosive than he is. So that's where I'm at with that one. Long Island girl, these options are insane. McCaffrey, Montgomery, Fournette, or Jeff Wilson. So, man. All right. Obviously, you're playing McCaffrey. Revenge game against Ron Rivera this week in Washington. That couldn't have lined up any better for Cam's first start. You're playing Leonard Fournette because he's the really only game in town. Ronald Jones gets no sort of burn, and Brady loves to check down to him. So it really comes down to Jeff Wilson and Montgomery here. I'm going to lean Montgomery, but you don't really have any bad options here at this point. Like, you can play any of these guys. I think Jeff Wilson's going to have a hell of a week. But when you look at what the Bears are going to be able to do, the Ravens are going to be in trouble on offense with Huntley starting. They should be able to do what they want on offense and not really be pressured into scoring a bunch of points. And I think that favors Montgomery. They're going to lean on the guy.
Lou, I'll let you go.
Yeah, so I agree with you, Jason. Only if you're really nitpicking here about Wilson, you can say, all right, so let's say the Niners get out to an early lead. Are they going to keep on running Wilson, or will they try to throw in Sermon in there a little bit?
Nope.
Or Hasty? You don't think
Trey
they
Sermon,
will at all?
Hasty's out. Trey Sermon, he's
so
not in their plans.
For a garbage
Nope.
fourth quarter. You don't think so at all?
It'll be Wilson. Look, Wilson, the last 3 times that he's been out there, has handled the ball 25, 27, 29 times. They have no problem feeding him and right.
Okay.
And Trey Sermon is not in the plans at all. You're going to see a lot more Debo in the backfield than you will Trey Sermon, I'm guessing, in this game. I really, really don't think he's going to be involved at all, man. Like, I know that this makes sense, but with the way that everything, like, there's something else going on behind the scenes with Trey Sermon. He had to have done something. He had to either have missed a meeting or yelled in a meeting or something like that, because it's not his play. But I don't think they have any reason that they want to go with him. And what I mean by that is, when you looked at that Green Bay Packers game and he was the only real running back on that was active, Kyle Juszczyk was the first guy out there. Like, he literally is picking every single person ahead of Trey Sermon, and it's just mind-boggling. I would not be worried about Trey Sermon at this point. Jeff Wilson, they have no problem turning it over 25, 30 times to him because they trust him that way.
So all that being said, so Trey Sermon's going to have $130 and 3 touchdowns.
Honestly, I don't know much. And I don't have much in my bank account, but I would bet what little is in my bank account that there's no chance of that happening. Absolutely no chance.
So I'm on for these 4, right? Picking 3 out of you. There's no way you're not starting Christian McCaffrey. I don't, if he goes out there on one leg and they say he's playing, you gotta trust in his one leg. Fournette is a must play right now. He seems to be literally the only game in town. He has supplanted Ronald Jones for the remainder of this season, barring injury. But to me, I'm going Jeff Wilson over Montgomery. I think on Monday night we saw a winning formula for the 49ers that involved handing that ball off 40 times. I know Elijah Mitchell's out, but there's no reason why Jeff Wilson, if the game plan goes accordingly, doesn't get somewhere between 20 and 25 carries, and he's productive. I just trust the 49ers game flow a little bit more than I trust this Bears-Ravens game with just a ton of uncertainty. So I go McCaffrey, Fournette, Wilson.
Perfect. All right. Montgomery or Elijah Mitchell? Elijah Mitchell's out. So it's obviously Montgomery here. Yep, you're good here. I'm assuming this is Adrian Peterson or Jeff Wilson. Jeff Wilson, no questions asked. You do not start Adrian Peterson, not even if there's a fire.
Yeah. This is Jeff Wilson.
Yeah, I'm telling you right now, this is a Dante Foreman game with the Titans. You want to talk about revenge games from Texas? Got drafted by the Texans, and also McNichols is out too.
Yep.
Peterson looks like a shell and slow as hell. So and Foreman looked like even last week he caught a couple balls and showed some explosiveness there. So Peterson, I'm not even starting at all. I don't care.
Follow the volume. I mean, if Foreman is something that you have to go ahead and do, that's fine. But I mean, if it's between these two, it's Jeff Wilson. Sin, what's up? Joe Mixon or Zach Moss? I am not trying to play Zach Moss against this Indianapolis run defense. It's Joe Mixon all day against this Raiders defense for me.
Yeah, what up, Sin? Mixon as well. Again, one of those ones that you invested early in the draft for this individual. You got to ride until you die, and I am losing faith in Zach Moss week over week.
Yeah, he didn't do anything against the Jets. So I mean,
he scored one touchdown. I mean, you're happy that he scored, but he had no yards.
So looking at that though, that was like towards the end of the game. Yeah, it has to be Mixon. He's more involved.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Sin, again with this question, DJ Moore or Ayuk? We're going DJ Moore because guess what? Cam Newton cannot be worse than what's been out there. So this has to help DJ Moore. Absolutely, 100%.
Has to be DJ Moore. Literally, this is the week it has to be DJ Moore. If not, then if we're having this conversation again next week, my response is different. But I am pounding the table for DJ Moore this week. It has to be, no other choice.
Here's the peer pressure, same thing.
Let's go. All right. Matthew, Wilson Jr., Robinson, Ingram. So I'm guessing that's James Robinson, Mark Ingram, and Jeff Wilson. Well, you're going to start Wilson. And then the James Robinson, Ingram thing, I'm going to follow the volume, and I think that's James Robinson. I understand that it's not exactly the best matchup for the Jaguars, but the 49ers run defense isn't that great. And they give up a ton of yards on there, and you can tell that that's what they want to do. With Ingram, my hesitation is that Tony Jones was just activated off the IR, and Sean Payton loves him. So I think he's going to be a little bit more involved. I think that out of necessity, they had to go to Ingram a bunch last week. And, I mean, Ingram will have, touches. I'm not saying that it is done, but I think that Tony Jones is going to be involved because they love that kid. And he was the main reason that they kind of didn't want to move on and get anybody else when it came to getting behind Kamara because, well, who did they cut behind them? They got rid of Latavius Murray.
Murray.
Yep. Yeah, they got rid of Latavius Murray for Tony Jones. I think they really like him, and I think that he's going to be involved. So if you're asking me from these two, from a volume standpoint, give me Wilson and James Robinson.
Yeah, I agree with you. Just chase the volume, right? And the first two on your list are going to get the most touches, barring something unexpected happening. So I'm Jeff Wilson Jr. here. I'm James Robinson. Even though Ingram has been a pleasant fantasy surprise so far this year, especially with his resurgence in New Orleans. But I'm going first two names on your list here, Matt.
I'm going to lone wolf it, and I'm definitely going to say Wilson Jr., but I'm going to say Ingram over Robinson for the mere fact I just feel like it's an easier matchup. Correct me if I'm wrong. I just feel like the Jaguars are going to have a difficult time running against that Niners defense. I'm not too confident in the Jaguars game plan this week. I feel like you guys turned a corner last week. I think that's going to continue and show this week, so I'm a little hesitant on Robinson this week.
Hey, from your mouth to God's ears. Let's go Niners. All right. Tavarius, Mooney or Landry. Ooh. All right. Donovan Peoples-Jones is not playing in this game. Baker Mayfield's banged up. The Lions' run defense is disgusting, and this feels like a Nick Chubb 300-yard rushing game, right? They're not going to have to do much in this game. Jared Goff is not starting. That's Tim Boyle. If we're talking about who has the bigger upside, it's Mooney. Absolutely 100% Mooney. Without any Allen Robinson and him and Justin Fields, even when Robinson was out there, they had it cooking. So I'm going to say Mooney here just because I'm going to shoot for the stars and the higher amount of points. If you need like a safe floor of like 8 to 10, then it's Landry. But I think Mooney can get you that more and more.
Yeah. I look at this, right? If I'm in this conundrum, it's more like, what does my opposition look like? Where am I in the standings at this point in the season? Do I need like a Hail Mary or do I need points on the board? If I just need points on the board, I'm going Landry. But for everything you just said, Jason, if I need a Hail Mary, I'm going Mooney because the upside, you mentioned Allen Robinson out, right? Like now Chicago's feeling pretty confident they got a chance with Lamar Jackson out, Hollywood Brown out. They got a lot of injuries on that Baltimore team. I think Mooney has the higher upside. So if it's me, I'm playing Mooney because it's fantasy. That's what we're here for, and it's home runs all day.
Disclaimer, I am a Landry hater. On our show, We're Talking Football offseason, I said they should cut Landry. I am not a fan of Landry whatsoever. Don't like his game at all. Yeah, I'm sticking to my word. And you know what? The last couple of years, I feel like I've been proven right. I'm definitely going Mooney. There's nothing left in Landry's tank, I think, from a motivational standpoint, from a skill standpoint. I think he's trash. I'm sorry. It's Mooney.
Okay.
Wow.
How I really feel, right?
You struck a nerve there.
I didn't see that one coming. All right, Chloe, Michael Pittman or Devonta Smith. I'm going to go Devonta Smith here only because Pittman is going up against that Bills defense. Tre'Davious White, they kick it up over there. If you didn't have a better option, I would have said Pittman because he's been so good and Carson Wentz likes him. But Devonta Smith here just because of what he provides and what Jalen Hurts can do throwing the ball.
Yeah, I said it earlier that I think this is, for Indianapolis, this is a run-heavy game because the Bills' defense is struggling to stop the run. And Devonta Smith had a nice little breakout game last week. I think the game flow is going to play well for him. So, to me, it's Devonta Smith.
Yeah, the one thing the Bills' defense does well is stopping the pass. So I do think Michael Pittman is not going to be able to put tremendous numbers unless he gets one of those catches where he takes it to the house, like those yards after run catch there. I do think Smith is starting to build some momentum, starting to get more comfortable with Jalen. So I'm going to say Smith as well.
All right. Vader Joe, Flex PPR, Jeff Wilson, Rashad Bateman, Emmanuel Sanders, Alex Collins. I feel like this one's a slam dunk and it's Jeff Wilson. I mean, and I just wish Lamar was playing because this would have been Rashad Bateman week and everybody would have said, oh my goodness, how did we let him fall in the draft? But unfortunately it's not. So I think it's Jeff Wilson here.
I wanted it to be Rashad Bateman week. Trust me, I did. But Lamar out is a big deal. And this is a no-brainer, Jeff Wilson.
I mean, I'm repeating you guys. Yeah, I'm following suit, man.
There we go. All right. Sean Smith, I mean, it would be nice to know your format here, but Jeff Wilson, Godwin, or Foreman, ooh, man. I'll tell you this. The Godwin thing kind of makes me a little bit worried only because the Giants' secondary is actually really good, and that's the thing that would kind of give me pause. If it's PPR, then it's hard to sit him, but I think the safest bet for points and upside, I think it's Jeff Wilson actually this week, man. I think that they're just going to have him involved, man.
Lou, I'll let you go so you don't feel like you're always just following suit.
Yeah, I'm running out things and cliches to say. It is just Jeff Wilson, but I'm saying don't sleep on Foreman. I'm telling you, Foreman's gonna have a big game, I think, this week. Because I'm a huge proponent on revenge games, and he's gonna have the opportunities and the touches. The last couple of weeks, he has been increasing his influence in the offense. So I'm gonna say Jeff Wilson, closely followed by Foreman.
Yeah. I love a good revenge game. Go for it, Weston.
I want it to be a big Foreman week because I'm in a little bit of a conundrum in a league, and he's riding today, and I hope he's riding heavy. But I just feel like let's call it what it is. I think week 11 is going to be Jeff Wilson Jr. week. I just think if you're sitting there and you're contemplating him in your equation, it's got to be a really crazy equation if he's not the answer. I just think this week you got to roll with him.
Okay. Eric again, Bay Area Baller. What's up, bro? It's been a struggle without King Henry. Need one PPR. Devonta Freeman, Latavius Murray, Devin Singletary. So Freeman and Murray are on the same team. Le'Veon Bell was cut. So he's not on the team anymore. Singletary, it's so hard to figure out what they're doing with those Bills running backs back-to-back weeks. And this would have been easily Devonta Freeman if Lamar was there. Oh, goodness. I'll say Devonta Freeman, but I don't feel good about it, bro. And I'm not trying to down you or anything like that. It's just that the situation changes as soon as Lamar's not in there.
Yeah, Lamar not being on the field changes everything. And I now think the focal point is just taking away the run, right? If I'm the Bears defense and I'm stacking that box as heavy as I can and tempting Huntley to beat me with his arm. For me, this is so Bay Area baller. I don't envy your scenario, but for me, this is Devin Singletary actually.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, the Ravens rushing attack hasn't been so amazing this whole season, even with Lamar under center, right? Their offensive line is not good. So now you take the equation, the only threat to perhaps take some pressure off the running backs, Lamar out of the game. And I'm really not confident in Freeman or Murray this week. I'm agreeing with Weston here. I'm going to say Singletary as well. You just hope that he finds the end zone and gets a bunch of catches because either he goes off or he doesn't.
All right. I'll be by myself on this one. Eric, let me know how it goes after the game, man. Yell at me on Twitter, bro. Dak or Russ? We're going Dak here, Gennaro, because shootout against the Kansas City Chiefs, man. There's no way if you have any Dallas players, if you have any Kansas City Chiefs players, as long as they're not named Mecole Hardman or Clyde Edwards-Helaire, you are starting them. Starting. Get every single Kansas City Chief, every single Dallas Cowboy you can. Dalton Schultz, Michael Gallup, CeeDee Lamb, Zeke, Tony Pollard, all of them. They need to be in this game because this is going to be an up and down, back and forth game. You want a piece of this game.
Yeah, and that being said, it'll end up 10-6, right?
Right.
That's the way it normally goes. No, but I'm Dak here as well. I agree that everything on paper tells me that this is going to be each team's putting up 30-plus points, and I want every part of it that I possibly can.
Yeah, it's definitely Dak and shit. Even if you have Cedric Wilson, that's a deep,
that
you
is.
got to think about, right?
No,
I mean he's been shown some value there in the past. So anyone in that, you got to find someone in that matchup to start.
Yes, absolutely. All right, XO, Russ or Burrow? I'm gonna go Burrow just because I don't know what the hell's going on with Russ. Even if I told somebody else to play Lockett, I really don't think you could bench those guys. But you have a better option right now. Burrow's playing fine. I mean, he throws a ton of picks, but he gets you fantasy points. That's all that really matters.
I need to see one good game from Mr. Unlimited before I start rolling back with him because, I mean, he's a quarterback and his fingers are important. So if this thing is still lingering, still an issue, I like Burrow's matchup. I like the divisional game, and he's been playing well this season. I'm rolling with Burrow.
I'm a huge fan of starting players that play against AFC West defenses. So Burrow's playing the Raiders. They're awful. Lock up Burrow.
Cool. Perfect. Now, Sin, Russell Wilson or Carson Wentz. This one is way harder. Way harder. I'm going to say Russ in this one. Only because with Wentz, and we talked about it, they're going to run. You can't really pass against those guys for the Bills. The weather is going to be pretty bad over there as well, too. That's apparently what's been said about, like a lot of rain and wind and stuff like that. I don't trust Carson Wentz to get it done, at least as far as points go. Last week, you asked the same question. I think we all went Wentz, and I think he barely scored more points than Russell Wilson did last week. But I'm going to go Russ this week. I have to think that it's going to turn around. You just don't have a better option like the question that we had before. If you had Russ or Burrow, I would say go Burrow. But if it's Russ and Wentz, I'm going Russ.
Sin, I wish this question was brought up right before this other person because now I'm going to sound like a backtracker saying that I need one more week from Mr. Unlimited. But just given this scenario, Jason hit the nail on the head, right? A tough Buffalo defense, a weather game. You just never know what that's going to bring. So I'd go. I'm letting Russ cook this week.
Thought process, you have to think that the Colts are going to try to emulate what the Titans did against the Bills a couple of weeks back. So which means just run the ball down their throats. That's where they're vulnerable. So I would say Russell Wilson too, because I don't know how much opportunity Wentz is going to have when it comes to the passing game.
Yep, and I'll probably hang out for another like 15 more minutes because Daddy's got to do 50 lineups himself. So let's, we'll answer the questions a little bit more rapid fire for you guys. So Jeff Wilson or David Montgomery, Weston, I'll let you start first. And I would like to know the format also because if it's PPR, then I kind of would lean Jeff Wilson. But I mean, I have to feel like Montgomery's going to be involved. Weston, what do you think?
Yeah, so I'm kind of faced with this myself, and I'm leaning Jeff Wilson, if that's any consolation. And I think it's just a little bit more volume, a little bit more comfortable in the way the game might flow. And I think if Wilson gets you 20 to 25 touches, you're going to be really happy with the result.
I'm going to say Montgomery for the mere fact they're going to have more opportunity on the offensive side of the ball with the Bears, with Tyler Huntley, being the quarterback of the Ravens. So I think Montgomery's going to have plenty of opportunities. I just like what he brings more from a pass catching standpoint. So I'm going to say Montgomery.
Yeah, I'm with Monty here, man. I know what I know with him, and I think that with Allen Robinson out there, and Nagy's going to make sure he does everything to get him involved. He was pretty involved in that Steelers game and in his first game back, and I have to think that continues in this one as well too. So, see, Gennaro feels me, man. They'll get the ball to Juice over Trey. There's something about Trey Sermon. He did something. I don't know what he did. Look, Bay Area baller. They'll probably play Juice over Sermon. There's something wrong. There's something that happened that nobody's talking about at this point with him. It really is, man.
We'll find out when the book is written on this team this season, 10 years from now.
All right. Is Damian Harris a good pickup? Not for this week, just for in general. Yes. I mean, he shouldn't be out there in any league. I mean, he shouldn't be out there for anybody to just pick up. Yes, I would absolutely pick him up. Dylan, no way I go Huntley over Fields. Absolutely no way. Not even if there's a fire. No way. No way. Let's see. Koo gave me a solid -1 points. Kickers aren't people. I still stand by that.
I think we said Koo.
No. They played Thursday.
Yeah, we said coup the previous week.
We said coup the previous week. Yeah. And he didn't do anything that week either. Just get into a league that abolishes kickers. I'm in one of those leagues, and it's the best thing I've ever done in my life. Devin Singletary or Jeff Wilson. I think all of us across the board are going to say Jeff Wilson.
Yeah.
Defense, Washington, Jacksonville, Houston, or Cincinnati. Ooh, Washington's defense is so bad. Jacksonville is actually probably the most decent one, but against the 49ers. Houston against Tennessee, no. And then Cincinnati against Vegas. It would be between Jacksonville and Cincinnati. I guess I'm going to go Cincinnati here just because without Ruggs, that offense has looked like in neutral, and they can't push the ball down the field. They don't have anybody who's really taking the top off of the defense. But these aren't good options, man. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be that guy, but this is not good right here.
Yeah, not good. Taking the lesser of evils, and I agree. It's between Jacksonville or Cincinnati, and I'm probably leaning Cincinnati just because they're because of who they're playing. Cincinnati.
For me, this is between Cincinnati and Washington. And once again, you want to talk about revenge games? That's like an ultimate revenge game.
Cam's gonna get revenge.
Oh, I mean, who better knows Cam than the Washington's head coach? So I don't know. I guess I'll say Cincinnati because they just have more playmakers on that defense right now. Washington's disappointed us.
Yep, Gennaro, Russ, or Dak. Don't even look back. That was easy.
Yeah, for people, just if it's a Cowboy or a Chief, it's always going to be unless you're between two Cowboys or two Chiefs.
Yeah,
right, exactly. Matthew, full PPR, need 3. Jesus, what leagues are you guys in that you have these options? My goodness, man. All right. Debo, you're starting. Keenan Allen, you're starting. For me, it comes down to Evans and DJ Moore. I'm scared a little bit about Evans with Bradbury probably being the guy that's all over him. And you know how I feel about DJ Moore? I'll say Mike Evans, but I mean, I feel like, if you're talking about full PPR, it might be DJ Moore, but it's going to be a tough time when Evans puts up 3 touchdowns on like 5 catches. You're going to be sitting there like, damn it, man. Like, like what can you deal with? You obviously haven't seen DJ Moore produce. I think this is going to be a good week for him, but it's hard for me to bench Mike Evans, man. Very hard.
So I'm going to say Debo, Allen, and Evans. And the only reason why I'm going Evans over Moore is just because it's a Monday night football game and all eyes are on Tom Brady. And to me, that just bodes well for Mike Evans in this instance. So I'm going Debo, Keenan, and Evans.
So, yeah, Debo and Keenan are the obvious choice. Now, you're telling me Tom Brady coming off of a week where they got smacked around. Now it's going to be on a Monday night game, just like what Weston says, against the Giants team who's always plagued him his whole career. You don't think he's going to want to ball out and show out? This might be one of those games where he drops 5 touchdowns, and Mike Evans is a red zone threat. So I'm, possibly getting 2 of those 5. So I'm definitely saying Evans. And if you think I was harsh on Landry, you don't want to hear my opinions on Cam Newton.
Look, I don't actually. Keep it to yourself. I definitely don't. Moss or Bateman standard? Damn it.
Ooh, this is good. This one's a good one.
I think I go Bateman. I mean, I think he has in standard. All you need is a touchdown, and I don't know if Zach Moss is going to get there. I mean, if they do get in the red zone, I have a feeling it'll be Josh Allen just running it in. It's going to be really hard to trust Zach Moss. What do you guys think?
I'm going to go Bateman just because to be competitive this game, they're going to have to throw the football at some point. And I think when you have a backup quarterback in who hasn't seen the field in a while, who they tend to lock in on a receiver, and I'd be locking in on Rashad. So I'm going Bateman.
I feel like Moss was gaining some traction up until he got that concussion a couple of weeks back. He was doing a little more in that offense, but ever since then, he has been MIA. So I will say Bateman as well.
Okay. Just out of warning. Yep, there we go. Jaquaski Tart starting. Sorry, Hufanga fans. I don't know why you thought it would be something different. Yeah. Nope. All right, A.J. Dillon, Jeff Wilson. I'm going A.J. Dillon, man. I mean, this is the week no Aaron Jones. This is it. I mean, A.J. Dillon is the only game in town. Patrick Taylor's not really going to scare me, and he was involved even before Aaron Jones went down. I mean, I love Jeff Wilson, but this is A.J. Dillon, and don't look back.
Can't disagree. As much as I love Jeff Wilson's matchup, and I've been saying this is the week of Jeff Wilson, I've actually been pounding the table for a couple of weeks now on our own show around A.J. Dillon, how he needs to be getting more involved even when Aaron Jones is there, and Aaron Jones is not there. I think this is going to be a big week from A.J. Dillon.
Yeah, he's on the better offense, and also that Vikings defense, even though it got a little healthier with the addition of Harrison Smith and what have you coming back off of COVID, I still think that Vikings defense was ranked like second to last in rushing yards. So I would definitely say A.J. Dillon.
Another AJ Dillon question. Choose two: Fournette, Dylan Moss, Fournette, and Dillon.
Yeah, it's a layup.
Yep. All right, Daniel O. I have, oh my God, I have CD Adams and Keenan Allen. No, you're not starting Gallup over any of those guys. I mean, unless you have, unless it's a 3-receiver league and you have a flex, but no, Gallup doesn't. You already have CD. CD's gonna get peppered with targets. You're good. My goodness, Adams, Lamb, and Keenan.
I know. If you got Gallup and your trade deadline hasn't passed yet, go get yourself some running backs. If these are the wide receivers that I'm looking for,
That's a good point.
You're running the table right now.
So, Long Island girl, I'm a little bit confused by this. Is this a super flex league where you can play someone else in the spot? I mean, if this is the case, I don't think you should sit Cam because of just they're going to run him in the red zone. But if it's between those two, it's going to be between either Jeff Wilson or Thielen. I mean, I would just stick Cam here at this point.
Yeah, if this is super flex, it's Cam. More often than not, it's proven you got to run with the quarterback in that super flex position.
Yeah, especially with running quarterbacks because they get you those 6 points if they rush it into the end zone. So I'm going to say Cam as well.
Okay. Take one more. This is the last one. Simon. Let me see. Oh, here we go. We got a few more actually. Simon, PPR, Montgomery or Evans. Flex. I think I'm just going to go Mike Evans. No. Montgomery.
No.
I'm going Montgomery.
I'm just going it's really hard between running backs and wide receivers if this is for you, like if this is in a flex, right? Because Montgomery's probably going to get 20 touches, right? Evans is going to have to be really productive with his 8 to 10 targets, 7 catches, and he's going to have to get in the end zone. It's got to be Montgomery.
Easy. Yep, I agree.
Sin, thank you for the donation. Appreciate you as always for always pulling up.
Let's get Sin a win this week. Let's get Sin a win.
Absolutely. I hope you won last week. Hawkinson or Freiermuth, PPR. Ooh, man, I think I go Freiermuth just because I feel a little bit better with Ben back. Hawkinson wasn't really even lighting it up with Goff. Now imagine with Tim Doyle. I don't know. I can't trust it.
Don't trust it. But that being said, and I'm big on Freiermuth, but I am rolling Hawkinson here because history has proven that backup quarterbacks, the best safety blanket in the world outside of a run game, is a solid, dominant tight end. I believe Hawkinson is that. I believe they will zero in on him and get off the schneid last week. So I'm rolling with Hawkinson here.
I'm going to agree with Jason for the mere fact that the Chargers do a good job keeping opposing wide receivers out of the end zone. What they don't do a good job is keeping opposing tight ends out of the end zone. So the game flow I'm picturing is Najee Harris running down their throats. And when it comes to the red zone, those play action fakes, with the tight end rolling to the left or what have you. So I'm going to say Freiermuth.
Sin, you know it. You know how I feel about kickers, man. They need to be abolished. They need to be abolished or defunded. One of the two. Bateman or Kirk, and we'll probably stick around for like 10 more minutes, so we'll try to run through these as fast as we can and get you guys a win. Bateman or Kirk, I think I'd have to say Bateman only because I trust it a little bit more, but it's hard to trust either of these guys at this point.
Coin flip. I'll land on heads, which to me is Bateman this week.
I'm going Batsman over Kirk because
nice.
Like I said, Colt McCoy doesn't push the ball down the field, and that's what Christian Kirk's bread and butter is. So I'm definitely going Batsman.
Okay. Batsman. DK or Mixon, PPR. I'm just going to go with the safe floor of Mixon.
Mixon.
Yeah, I agree. He can run it and catch it too. So,
okay. Mike Williams, Gallup, or Kirk. I'm going Michael Gallup here.
Yeah, Gallup. We talked about the game, and Gallup's back, and Gallup.
Yo, I'll tell you right now, I would have went Gallup even if Cooper was in the offense for the mere fact that Mike Williams been MIA. He's lost a bunch of targets the last 5 weeks. It's definitely Gallup over here.
Yep. Okay. Long Island girl, thank you so much for the donation. And yes, let's go Niners. Absolutely, 100%. I guess I shouldn't tell you my starters then, Jason. Bro, you had to do me like that, Bateman. It's all love, bro. Thank you for pulling up, man. We're just having some fun before the game starts and everything as well, too. So we'll stick around for 5 more minutes. Guys, anybody you're excited to start today that you feel is going to have a good game? Maybe we can give someone else some confidence and maybe someone in there a little bit, nervous about?
So I got one that that I like, and I'm super excited to see how this plays out. Not terribly confident, but then I'm going to pose a question back to you, gentlemen, because I need a little help myself. But I'm going to say Foreman. I'm definitely excited to see what Foreman can do in this game, revenge games, things of that nature. That's kind of my exciting one. My conundrum is if you had to choose 2 or 3, and it's, keep in mind, I can move some people into the flex. So it's between Christian Kirk, Josh Jacobs, and Brandon Ayuk. 2 of 3.
Josh Jacobs. Where's this Christian Kirk love coming from?
Well, I mean, remember, AJ Green and Hopkins have been out the last 2 weeks, and he's been fine. He's been actually putting up points. I mean, he didn't do anything last week, but he was actually pretty good. He was like a good wide receiver 3 dart throw, right?
Man, isn't McCoy banged up too?
He's got a torn pec, but he's going to play through it. It's because his name's Colt.
Yeah, going to Seattle, I'm telling you, man, I don't want any of that whatsoever.
So you're saying Ayuk over Kirk, basically, then, if you're saying Jacobs is in.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't think it's going to make you win or lose, to be honest with you. I'm not trying to be a dick.
No, you're fine. I'm not winning anyway, so we're all good.
All right. We'll take a few more. Ayuk or DK? Roll DK, bro. Just so you can't sit there and look at those numbers. I know that it hasn't looked so good. Actually, Robbie Gould is up. He made a 50-yarder last week. Do you believe in miracles? Because that was an absolute miracle. That was the greatest day of my life, honestly, to see Robbie Gould kick a 50-yarder. Move over, birth of my daughter. Robbie Gould made a 50-yarder. All right. Man. All right. Josh Allen, Dalvin Cook, AJ Dillon, Tyreek, Debo, Waller, Wilson, Niners D. Goodness gracious. If you don't win this week, man, this is the week to pack it in on fantasy football, bro.
Yeah. I think this was in response to when we asked what the lineup was based on a question before, and I feel like this is a championship lineup right there.
Goodness gracious. Should I start Henry Ruggs? He's been letting me down the last couple of weeks. I bench him. I personally bench him. I don't think I should. I don't think I'd start Henry Ruggs. I just bench him.
Too soon? Too soon?
Jacobs and Kirk. All right.
At least everybody's having fun with us to this morning, man. At least everybody's having some fun.
Absolutely. All right. We'll call it here. Guys, let everybody know where they can subscribe to your podcast and everything as well, too. These guys do great work. Not just because of the Jersey connection or anything like that. Trust me, these guys are really good at what they do. Let them know where they can find your stuff.
You can find us on Instagram and Twitter at WTFPodNFL. Or, Weston?
On YouTube at We're Talking Football. Super, super easy, super simple. Jason, we just appreciate you willing to rap with us, from time to time, and we love being here, and thank you so much, man.
Yeah, man, you got it. It's always so much easier to do this with other people. It flows better, gives better opinions, and if I get it wrong, then yell at me on Twitter, and if they get it right, make sure you let them know that they got it right. That's it, man.
Or wrong. We're here for the critics as well.
Let's take some victory laps, man, because that's what we're here for. Nothing like patting yourself on the back. I promise you. Nothing like it. It's the best thing in the world. So for everybody who was in here, thank you. Thank you for the donations. Make sure you hit like on this video. Make sure if you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure you do. Turn on that notification bell for any time that we go live, any sort of new videos. I will be back right after the Jacksonville Jaguars game to talk 49ers Jaguars. Hopefully, we're talking about a 49ers win. But as always, and this is something I always say on my podcast, let's go Niners.
Let's go. Let's go.
Welcome, everybody. Let's go Niners. My name is Jason Aponte.